Hour 2 is brought to you by Culligan Water. Drink clean, live green. Filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina, Sask. Visit CulliganRegina.com. Okay, well, this guy can talk about a variety of things. We're pleased to welcome in NHL veteran alumni and coaching vet as well, Tim Hunter. Hey, Coach, welcome back. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas, isn't it? Except for maybe in Calgary. Were you in the game? Were you at the Saddle Dome last night for the tough outing?
Yeah, and we saw the result with St. Louis and Minnesota winning, so it was really a shame. I was sitting beside Lanny, and I looked. It was 2-1 for Anaheim, and then with 20 seconds left, Lanny picks his phone up. I go, don't look, don't ruin it. And he picked his phone up, tied 2-2, and I'm like, oh, man. And then, again, they scored at the end of the overtime. So, yeah, it was tough. But I'll tell you, the Flames sure played a lot better after the first 5 or 7 minutes last night. And they gave the fans a heck of a game and a heck of a season for the most part. It's been really fun to watch, fun to be a fan of, and fun to just kind of be around the guys. And, you know, as alumni, we're really proud of what they did this year, both the organization, the players, the coaches, the culture they developed. You saw bits and pieces of the players after the game, saluting the fans, and even driving out of the parking lot, stopping, getting out of their cars and signing autographs for the fans. So that's how much they're loved and how much of an impact they've had on the city this year.
Well, you know, it's a great town when they're engaged and things are going good with the hockey team. But I got to ask you this, Tim. Can I say back in our day, I'll lump me in with your generation, that used to be there was momentum from one season to the next, especially if it was good. I don't know if it's that way anymore with the way the contracts are, the way the players are. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know, the teams that are smart, and I think I'll lump Calgary in there, is they're building groups of players that can stick together for more than just 1 or 2 years, and that's what they're doing here, is trying to get the right age group together. They can grow together, and so they've got a very good team when they move into the new building in 27, 28, and that's when it's going to be really exciting, when they're top of the class and not fighting and struggling just to get in the playoffs. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. You're looking at teams like Boston. They're going to be a long time rebuilding again. You fall off the map. Just all of a sudden they were competitive, and then a couple of guys retire, and they haven't got slots to fill. And it's a big rebuild. So, it's these smart general managers that can keep a core group of guys together for a long time. You look at Colorado, Tampa, what Tampa's done. They've done a quick retool, getting Getzel and moving some pieces around, and they've really, they scored the most goals in the NHL this year, which is quite amazing because they do it by committee. And yeah, they have some big studs in Point and Kucherov, but fun to watch.
And that little bugger, Brandon Hagel. He is something too, man. Right? He doesn't get the credit he should.
No, and I coached against him. He was in Red Deer, and I just didn't see it, that he was that dynamic of a player. And I'll tell you, whatever he's done to work on his game and hone his craft, hats off to him, because wow, what a player, and what a underrated player he is. And I think, with playing in the Four Nations, it really kind of put him on the map as well. So he's not going to be underrated anymore.
Might have caught Matthew Tkachuk off guard that particular night too. You know what I'm saying? Our poll question is, what's the most tantalizing first round series? We got Battle of Ontario, Battle of Florida, Colorado, Dallas, or other. And when I say tantalizing, just what, the most exciting matchup going in.
Yeah, that's a good question. Everyone's worried about Toronto, and they're hoping they can get through the first round. And again, they're going to have a tough go of it. I think mine, and I don't want to throw salt on the wound, but I'm really interested to see now what Edmonton does. They've had a lot of injuries, a lot of guys in and out of the lineup here in the last little while. How healthy are they going to be playing LA? for it's fifth time in a row or fourth time in a row. It's going to be amazing. And LA is really rolling, and they're playing well and healthy. So it's going to be that for me. That as a fan, I'm looking at that series. I'm not as concerned with the Ontario battle. It's, I coached in Toronto and I get all that, but I'm not as concerned with that.
Gary in Winnipeg writes in, breaking news. Most hockey fans outside of Ontario hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. From Gary in Winnipeg. Well, I don't hate them. I think it's kind of funny. This every year is their year. Their fans believe it is every year. But can you, if you're going into this series, we've been talking about this amongst the staff, and you don't have a clear-cut number one goalie, that would scare the hell out of me. But I guess
I heard you guys talking earlier about Wool or Stolars, and it's going to be. I'm sure they know who it's going to be. The coaches, the managers, they know their guy. They have a guy they want to give it to and let him ride it, and not on. And obviously, if somebody stumbles, that'll change. But I'm sure they have a guy, and who it's going to be is we'll see. But I don't hate the Leafs. The thing that I hate about the Leafs, and it's a shame, is it's just the media coverage and how much pressure they put on the team and on the players, and it's hot and cold, and those players have a hard time existing in Toronto because of all the media and the scrutiny they put on them. And they're not like any other team. They're just trying to win, but they got so much pressure on them because it comes in a lot of different directions at them, and it's hard to exist there.
You played in a variety of places. What was a place that you could go and not be recognized? Or because of your, iconic good looks, maybe that wasn't a thing. I don't know. But was there a place that you could go, Tim, that they didn't know where you were? Because it wouldn't be Calgary. It wouldn't be Vancouver. Probably wouldn't even be Quebec City. But did you have some anonymity anywhere in your career?
Well, San Jose, for sure. It's such a vast area, and, the Bay Area, in and around the arena and the San Jose area, Los Gatos, Saratoga, where all the players live. Yeah, it's a smaller community, but, you drive 10 minutes away and you're in Morgan Hill or, up in even San Francisco. No one knows who you are unless it's a tourist from Canada that bumps into you on the street in San Francisco. So, yeah. But, yeah, Quebec, the fans are just so passionate. I had a friend come and visit, and we went to a local arena, and they had three boys, and they brought their skates, and we went out, and I went on the ice and skating around, and in about 2 seconds, all the parents are going, "Oh, that's Tim Hunter from the Nordiques," and all the kids. It was fun, but there was no just sneaking out and playing a little shinny. And you got recognized in a hurry, and it ended up being a lot of fun. But and I didn't think Quebec, being from, I guess playing the Canadians twice in the Stanley Cup Finals puts you on the map in Quebec, because you're all of Quebec's eyes are on you for 2 weeks each time, so you get a lot of attention that way. And the famous Dale Hunter, who played in Quebec, everyone asked me, are you related to the Hunters? And that's not true. My reply to that is, they're short and fat and have big heads. I'm tall, good looking, and have a big nose. So, big difference.
Same mentality, though. Maybe the same mentality. But, I don't know how well. I know that you weren't in Calgary for a period of time. Like, were you there when Tkachuk was there, Matthew? I bring that up because when he first got to Florida, nobody really knew who he was. I was here before he got here. But now everybody does. And I think he kind of likes it. Like, he rips around Fort Lauderdale on his golf cart because you can. He's not playing right now. He's hurt. And he kind of likes it. I don't think he liked it in Calgary. There's a difference. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he's an American, and the Canadian media is a little different. But the fans loved him here. And I was here, we moved back in 2021, hadn't been here in 30 years as a resident, been coming and going, but living here for 30 years. So came back, and all that group, Goudreau and Tkachuk and the whole group of them, was fun to watch, fun to be around. And, he was pretty pretty good guy, and I know Keith quite well, and I coached against both Brady and Matthew in the U18s in the World Juniors, so was around those guys a lot, and the dad and the mom, so good relationship with them, the fun people, and it's just one of those things. Him going to Florida, because you can, and that's what the players, that's their power they have now. But I think it's more the scrutiny as the Canadian media that you're under when you're in Canada. It was whether it's Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto. That's the difference. And down in Florida, I don't know. They probably got a couple beat writers and one television group, and the scrums are probably fairly small as opposed to what they are in Calgary.
It's smaller even than you think. It's like one or two guys that works for the team now. But what I'm saying is the fans, and it's not an insult against Canadian hockey fans. It's not. But they're going to get him against the wall and ask him why they're not scoring on the power play, right, in Canada. Here, they just want to take a picture, or they want to, you know what I mean? It's all positive and nice. They're not getting up in his face. That happens.
Yeah,
in Canada,
I don't think Calgary's as bad as Vancouver or Edmonton or Toronto or Montreal. I think Calgary's being in all 4 or 5 markets, being around Calgary's for the fans. The fans are I think they're a little more sophisticated, and that I don't mean to slight. They're just a little different. They have a little more respect for the athletes than these other places. And I remember being in Toronto and being, going getting a haircut and sitting in the chair, and the guy's grilling me about the goaltending and the power play and the penalty killing. I said, was this the Spanish Inquisition here? I said, I came in for a haircut. I just like to sit quietly, have a haircut, not be grilled about the team. And the guy that owned the shop said, how'd you enjoy your time, your haircut? I said, I didn't. I said, and I won't be back, because, that's unprofessional to do that to somebody just because you can, and I thought,
I think,
so,
continues,
there's a difference, but I think that the fans in Calgary have a lot of class.
I think I just realized why the Rough Riders have their own barber shop in their locker room in their new stadium. I just realized that you can get it done right in the football stadium. You don't got to leave. I could just say Saskatchewan is the same. Just translate to football. Jeff, the Stampeders fan, writes, and he says, I met Tim last year at a hip and knee clinic in Gulf Canada Square. Very classy man. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta says, Tim, can you please coach the power play for the Flames? It's been bad for years, and maybe the difference next year. How would you respond to that?
Well, it's hard to say what the problem is. There's a lot of different things that go into making a power play work, and that's number one, the direction they have, and then number 2 is the guys taking the direction. So, power play is all about utilizing the 1-2-on-1 they can't cover, and being smart enough to utilize that 1-2-on-1 they can't cover, because they can only cover 4 of the 5. So, it's a great question, because I know they're trying like madmen down there, and they're smart guys, and I hope they figure it out, because, I watched them. I don't know what game it was. They had 6 power. I think it was the Anaheim game, or one. They had 6 power plays and never scored on the power play. And I think they only got a point. And difference of getting another point some nights is the power play. And I know you can't exist on the power play alone, but you should score. If you get 5 power plays, you should score 1 goal. If you get 6, you should definitely score 1 goal. So, again, I had a great power play. I coached the power play in San Jose. We were number 1 in the NHL. I coached the power play in Toronto. We scored the 11th most goals in the NHL the year I coached the power play in Toronto. I had a great power play in Western Hockey League for 3 or 4 years straight, top 5 in Moose Jaw. It's a real art to getting to figuring out what penalty killers are doing against you, and how to beat that 2-on-1 that you want to execute and put the puck in the net. So it's not an easy job. You need good players, but you need players that'll listen and players that'll execute for you and not have their own agenda on it. So sometimes you have to weed through all that to get it done right.
And far be it for me to say, but they had 2 players with over 60 points. Nobody else had more than 50. You might need some people that know how to score. I don't know. That would be my answer to that. It's not the most offensively charged team in the NHL, Tim.
Well, exactly, and the players to execute, and what do they have the ability? And you've got kind of a group that's got some veterans and some young guys, and they're trying to find their way, especially when you have some young guys in important spots, and they're trying to find their way. And part of that is letting them find their way. And you're gonna have those troubled moments and those troubled weeks and days, and that's what it's going to be all about, growing pains. So I think for the Flames, it's a little bit of short-term pain for some long-term gain. I think that would be the answer.
They're going in the right direction, and they're going fast. All right, Coach, we got to let you go. Darren Moose DuPont's coming in next with his predictions, and I know you love Darren's predictions. So, Tim, thank you. Enjoy the hockey. Let's do it again soon.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, Rod. Have a great day. Appreciate it.
The great Tim Hunter, Stanley Cup champion, joining us. And the Moose comes back for NHL Breakaway Bets right after this. Live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever you enjoy your podcast.